You're watching the number one podcast in the whole entire youth wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juanzo.
And I'm your other host, coming to you live from the boiler room, Jean-Paul Leek.
And together we are...
Ripley.
There's a huge snowstorm in Pennsylvania, but see, Jean-Paul is from the boiler room. Always ready, always here for every single one of you. So we gotta give props, we gotta give love to Jean-Paul Leek. How's every single one of you today? We're going to be talking about NXT. That's our Wednesday night show. We don't do AEW anymore for obvious reasons. So we hope that all of you are doing great. Thank you for the love, subscriptions, every single thing that you do for us. Before we start, then don't forget to check with Jean-Paul Eggs Only, the best booker in the business, the go-home show for TLC, the preview for Drew McIntyre and AJ Styles in the TLC match. Like Jean-Paul mentioned, this is a pretty bad show. This is the only good thing, and also how the Fiend and Randy Orton, they still playing mind games with each other. Fiend seems to have the upper hand, but how do you feel like?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not expecting the SmackDown go-home show to be any better for TLC. They just, like I said, I'm hoping after this, okay, Royal Rumble legit, that's when the build starts, because, nothing to me besides the two things you just mentioned, AJ Styles and, the Fiend and Randy Orton. Everything else just feels thrown together. You have Asuka and a mystery partner going for the tag titles instead of just Asuka defending her belt and all the other matches. Now, if the Hurt Business wins, legit, but don't be surprised if your boys, which they're not any of our boys, the New Day retain. So.
Oh yeah, that would be absolutely terrible. So you'll be with us because also Robert will be covering every single thing. So let's start from the beginning of the show. On NXT, that every single week, like you said, the pieces are coming back together. The decision making is not there yet, but at least we got the return of Karrion Kross. We're gonna see maybe Bronson Reed next week. So number one contenders match right here for Finn Balor's title. So kind of a pretty decent show. Let's start with the first match. Kushida teaming up with Leon Ruff going against Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory. This match was pretty decent, I will say. And actually, Leon Ruff looked pretty decent to me outside of one spot that he was going to do. I think he did a suicide dive or a moonsault. And
Bro,
he almost gets injured with that.
Yeah, he jumped off the bottom rope or the second rope and then onto the top rope and then was going to do a flip or a cannonball off the top rope. Completely slipped. It was, like Matt Sydal, but instead of when Sydal fell inside the ring, Leon Ruff falls outside of the ring, right by the ring steps. I thought he whacked his head on the steps. I'm like, oh, this guy's done. But he was able to come back, fight in the match soon after. He hit a really good-looking DDT onto Austin Theory, and while Leon Ruff does look good, it's all because these guys sell for him. Yeah. You look at him in there. Kushida, maybe, because Kushida's also small, but, Kushida was his partner. So it's oh, okay, Gargano, you saw Gargano kick his ass, so it's okay. And then Austin Theory is twice this guy's size, just with his muscles and everything, and, he is a lot taller. So it's just Austin Theory to me, Leon Ruff is just unbelievable. He's, I can't believe him in this matches. So, it's not believable. So I'm not a fan, but I think the right winner here was obviously The Way, which I don't like the whole, the name of the group. They call themselves The Way. I know it's the Gargano Way, but I don't like that. But it was at least the right winner for me. Austin Theory was the one to score the pin. I was scared he was going to eat the pin on by Leon Ruff, but it was flipped. Thank God Austin Theory got the pin because he needs to look good. Out of all these guys, I think he is the most upside. Kushida as well, but I don't really know what they're going to do with Kushida.
The one thing that is important that you mentioned is just Kushida was protected. He had a good showing. Gargano, okay. He was actually most on the outside of the match. But see, Austin Theory is in that redeeming process that he's going to keep winning good matches. And this was pretty good, even the finisher. Kind of a flatliner, that starts the kind of a Hurricanrana turning into flatliner. He gets the 1-2-3 pin. And you said, Leon Ruff is starting to go back to the place that he should have never left. It's just, not jobber, but hey, grooming to be a superstar in the near future. At least for me. I don't see it but this, keep grooming the guy, keep cooking him, keep training him so he gets better and he gets ready for a bigger push.
Yeah, NXT always used to me be a really believable wrestling show, and then when you put Leon Ruff in there, it's just like Monday Night Raw. This is it's the comedy hour, and that's not what I want. I want serious wrestling.
Yes, and that's the one thing that with this, I don't know what you think about that, but this is to me not serious wrestling. You have Dexter Lumis just drawing throughout the whole show. He's right there up in the corner. I don't know what the point of this is. But like we will later on, we will see what happens. But this to me takes away the character for Loomis.
This is pointless. So I mean, we can just mention it now. You see him drawing on his computer throughout the night, and eventually towards the end of the show, they reveal, he's going to be hosting, NXT Takeover or NXT New Year's Evil, excuse me. And like Wade said, this guy doesn't even talk. How the fuck can he be a host?
Yeah, Wade.
Which I'm like, I don't understand what like they're doing with this guy. Okay, he beat Cameron Grimes. It's like, are you going to push him? No. Maybe do they not want to push him because they kind of treat him as like an Undertaker thing where like they don't want to beat him, and if they put the belt on him, they're going to have to beat him eventually, so maybe they just don't know what to do with him. But if that's the case, then that just proves that you're not good to create a writing team. You don't know what to do with this guy.
Well, we mentioned, a few months ago, like I said, somebody like actually a writing team is writing NXT. So now I don't think it's Triple H and Shawn Michaels like vision. Mm-hmm. Like for the most part, I think it's like they probably say do this, do that, but then the creative process is mostly
and that goes back to what I said, the Monday Night Raw comedy hour. It's let's take a guy who's legit and take him out of the ring and make him do something completely unrelated to wrestling.
Yes, like I kind of like the focus of the show should be wrestling, and it's not the focus. So let's talk about Lazaretto is going to be like the official theme song for like NXT like New Year's Evil. That is going to be the first like main show. It's not going to be a takeover, but like Impact is doing like those like like different shows. It's not just a show. It's just something different. So like I think it's going to be a good like let's keep promoting Rock. So I like that. So now let's talk about Tommaso Ciampa. Like you mentioned, the rivalry with like Timothy Thatcher is still happening. I don't know what is going to be a match at NXT, Evils, but we'll see what happens. But he had a match with Tyler Rust, so this was pretty decent. I would say actually Ciampa sold for Rust, and that was pretty good. I like that, and also like he brought the chair. He's like, oh, where's Timothy Thatcher? Like, can he sit down? So they keep playing that story. I don't know how you feel about this.
Yeah, I actually was surprised. I'm like, okay, it's just going to be Austin, or was it Austin Rust? Or was
Tyler Rust.
Tyler Rust. There we go, yeah. I was just like, okay, Rust, he's going to be like, 3-minute job match, whatever. And then we're going to have like a hot shot where you're going to have Thatcher come out, beat up Ciampa, blah, blah, blah. But no, they actually gave this match a lot of time. And Rust, I thought, looked really good. And, because commentary was saying, oh, he's a 15-year veteran, blah, 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 right, like Ciampa and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, they're putting this guy over on commentary. Is he just going to get jobbed out? Like, that doesn't look good to be like, 15 years and you're still a fucking loser. But no, he actually put on a really good match. And, I mean, in the end, obviously you're going to have Ciampa win. You're not going to have, Russ beat Ciampa. And then it's like, so what do we do with Ciampa? No, but, I mean, this was good. Just to showcase Rust, and also what happened after the match with Bivens. Is he starting his own new stable? Are we going to see, where's I mean, I guess Malcolm Bivens is a little bit more serious than Robert Stone, but it's like you have two of the same guy where it's like, oh, we're trying to create a group of like losers, like they don't ever they don't ever recruit like legit people.
It's more like they want to do more like Dark Order thing.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
But like I think like this, like Michael Bivens is like Malcolm Bivens is more like serious. Like he's not a comedy. Like when he delivers a promo, he's all like a business. It's like let's create a promo like the Her Business. Mm-hmm. That is just like like business. It's more redundant. But like, hey, let's win matches, let's win titles, let's dominate the brand, let's dominate the company. So that's what he's trying to do because Indushare, they're going to be doing more business in NXT India, like you mentioned, because they're going to use them as the tag team and they're going to use Jinder Mahal as one of their superstars. So this was good. Tommaso Ciampa gets the win, more interactions with Timothy Thatcher. So like we'll see like the rivalry is going on, and like you said, Rust kind of might be joining a new group. So that's pretty interesting to see. I really like that. And also we got a promo about like the Grills, young veterans. So this was good. I like finally the other guy was also talking. And he mentions like both of them is like before pandemic, we beat like Undisputed Era. We beat all the best tag teams here. 8 months later, like we were really close to win actually the Dusty Classic, all of that. And now the surface of NXT has changed. Has much more variety. There's Imperium, there's Breezango, there's all more other teams, but like what remains the same is like we're the best team. So like I think that like they should be the ones challenging for the tag titles. The only problem is like Lorcan and Birch are heels, but at least they keep promoting these guys. So let's hear from Paul.
Yeah, and they said it perfectly. They said, "Oh, momentum. We had all this momentum, and then boom, COVID, pandemic,
Done.
whatever." I don't think they actually said it because WWE is scared of those words, but
Yes.
it's like boom, that's what happened. And I mean, yeah, I think these guys are legit. I'm still not a fan of the name Grizzled Young Veterans. To me, that's like an oxymoron. I think it's a stupid name, but I mean, like the team is legit. I love Ticket to Mayhem. I love their finisher. And, to me, they would be the right choice to go after, the tag champs, which Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, but I'm not sure what they're trying to do with that stable. Because what we saw later on in a match with Pete Dunne, it's like, oh, I thought maybe they're really going to try to push this stable, but, we didn't see McAfee now. No, Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, they were in the back like, and like that's
Like
pretty
that.
much it. And then, so I don't know. I feel like that was like, oh, a War Games thing, and now it's done.
Yep, so like maybe it's the time for like Burch and Lorcan. Remember what we say, give him like a month and a half. You have the time of, all right, boys, you guys like your moment in the sun. Okay, let's give him to a legit team. Like, you guys got to go back where you belong. So, guys, good promo, though. And now let's talk about, like you said, number one contenders match for the NXT Championship. And that's Kyle O'Reilly and Pete Dunne. This actually proved me wrong because I already told you before we go on air. I was like, we saw this match like 2 weeks ago, so why can they do better? They actually gave a better match than what they did 2 weeks ago. This was absolutely great. Both men look good, and Kyle O'Reilly in the end is the guy that they're pushing. I told you before, Undisputed Era pretty much is going to be Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. Adam Cole, I think that like they're trying to preserve him, maybe like keep him from like getting more injured or like recovering from some injuries. But like this was a good match. Pete Dunne always like gives good matches, and like you said, pretty much isolating himself from Pat McAfee and Burch and Lorcan. So I don't know. We'll see what they do with this, but I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this match. In the beginning, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a bullshit match. Because right when the thing started, you had like, I think Undisputed Era was out. Everyone was out there. It felt like the whole roster. Then we saw Breezango attack, and everybody was beating each other up. And then as everybody's fighting on the outside like a bunch of idiots, it literally cut to the picture we have here on screen with the rope break magic of the stare down. So I like how the two guys were unfazed with all the bullshit going on the outside. They were here to do business because that is what you need to do as a wrestler. You need to, what's my goal? My goal is the championship. That's what they're focused on to become the number one contender. This was a fantastic match. I agree with you. I enjoyed this a lot more than the ladder match they had for the War Games advantage. The only thing I didn't like was the winner. Because we saw O'Reilly. O'Reilly's not going to win. As legit as he is, the story is Balor and Kross.
Yes.
That's the matchup we all want to see. No offense to O'Reilly, but O'Reilly and Kross doesn't sound as good. That's not as box office. I know they don't draw houses like they do in the old days, or we got to sell tickets. But if they did, Balor and Kross is the matchup you go with.
Oh yeah, Balor and Kross is like is the money march. Yes,
and because we've seen this as we saw this match before, that's why I was like, oh, Pete Dunne. I think that would be a legit match. Maybe they're saving Pete Dunne, or maybe they have different plans for him. But, O'Reilly, legit. But like I said, I don't think he's going to win. So I would have rather seen Pete Dunne. At least it would have been a fresh matchup. And I guess we can mention the little promo Finn Balor cut. I like when he said this isn't going to be Balor and O'Reilly 2. It's going to be Balor and O'Reilly the end. Yeah, so he's pretty much like, you're like this is it. When I fucking beat you, it's done. Yeah. So.
And like you said, in 3 weeks' time, Kyle O'Reilly is going to be challenging Finn Balor one more time for the NXT Championship at NXT New Year's Evil. I like what you said. And well, at least I like the spot when like they did the suplex on the outside, like Kyle O'Reilly did that. Pete Dunne tried for like the beater end, but then he kind of like countered it, and then he did his new finisher that is that elbow onto like the neck. So that's how he put him away. But like good stuff. Like I like who was trying to do the fingers thing, like the rag of the fingers, all of that.
Yeah, the only spot. Oh, I was just going to say the only spot that I thought was a little weird was when he did like the double underhook suplex, and he almost was doing like the Three Amigos where he would hit the double underhook and then still be holding on and hit it again. Because he didn't like release it or anything, Pete Dunne's head and neck like weren't even close to hitting the mat. So I was like, oh, that looks kind of shitty. He should have just did one and actually had him hit and had it look legit. But other than that, I mean, I didn't really have any real issue with this match.
No, yeah, like I agree with you. The only thing is, like, to me, Big Joseph doesn't sell me too much on commentary.
Every week I hear him, I like him less and less.
Because it's like, like Ronaldo, like they need somebody that's gonna have as intensity as like the wrestlers, because it sounds at moments even boring. If the bad news doesn't do a job like overselling the moves, and like we said this before, in wrestling you gotta oversell. Because sometimes the phones, you're not paying attention. If you don't have that much energy, you get lost.
Well, the problem with Vic Joseph is he's like a clone of Michael Cole, like Tom Phillips, Byron Saxton, all of them. They come out of like Michael Cole's asshole, like they just walk out fully grown in a suit, like, oh hi, I've Vince McMahon in my ear. That's like that's how they are. He's not a like I don't think he could actually call a match himself. He needs somebody feeding it into his ear to tell him what to say.
At moments, I think that's what it is because it's like you said, it's not. It doesn't feel that believable. That for me at least, or it's not as engaging, and that's the word.
Like you said, if you want to hear like legit like enthusiasm, Mike Tenay.
Mike Tenay, that's the stuff that I'm talking about. Even Josh Matthews is more WWE formulaic. At least he's trying to step out, but the whole formula with Madison Rayne is a lot better for me. But let's talk about something that we've been mentioning, you and me, for the past weeks. Is this thing with the training, gory, intense, that sometimes criminal, sometimes way too violent. Is like Xia Li and Boa. They still seem like the guy from. It seems like he's like I don't know. It's Laura Seth. I don't know. It's Rita. I don't know who it is, but it's just this masked man or masked woman that is still torturing these guys.
I was gonna say, can I bring up one point here? Because I always say in the world of kayfabe, outside the world of kayfabe, let's step in the world of kayfabe here. So you have a camera crew filming this this old master and this masked woman or hooded woman or whatever. She's having Xia Li just beat the shit out of Boa, who obviously is just supposed to sit there and take it. And it's a very just disturbing scene. But there's a fucking camera crew. You're telling me nobody can call the police?
Yes.
You know what I mean? And also NXT was the show where people were constantly getting abducted. Remember when the van was taking everybody and they were trying to take Santos, and then Santos was like, haha, just kidding, I'm in charge of all this. And, this is, it doesn't make any sense. It's what is going on here? But, to forget all that and just ignore details like WWE wants you to do, I think this will be cool if, like I said, if they debut them and they're legit. The one thing that Wade Barrett said, I think when they come out of this, they're going to be unrecognizable. And that's how they need to be. They can't be like Rosalie in her normal thing. And they need to be completely different. And I know it's not her, because obviously she's with Impact and stuff, and she's not probably leaving anytime soon. But how legit would that be if that was Sue Young?
Oh, that would be,
because that would at least, it would make sense, and it would everything. Yeah, so that would be cool. So, but I really don't know who it is, and I'm intrigued by this just because of how disturbing, and I'm I just want to see where they go, because I can't imagine it's going to be anything super crazy, because it is WWE produced.
Well, that's the thing, is if the payoff is good, we're good. But if the payoff is terrible, no thank you, another another wasted effort on WWE's end. Another wasted effort, like you said, this show would have benefited from those 10 minutes or something. Shotzi Blackheart, she got a promo saying that she's not done with Candice LeRae. She broke her arm, and now this week, she's going to break her friend. And she had a match with Indy Hartwell, and she go, oh. This match, like you said, unnecessary. I didn't, especially because of the ending. Why was this needed if it's going to end on a DQ? At least for me, it doesn't make any sense, because either Shotzi needs to be breaking everybody or pinning everybody instead of just getting DQ and the Gargano's way get their way. So what do you think on this?
Yeah,
I didn't like the match. It was too quick.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of this, and the way it ended and everything, and I was thinking, okay, we got the main event coming up. They gave such a long time to Pete Dunne and Kyle O'Reilly. I thought, okay, that match was the best match of the whole night, and it wasn't in the main event, so it's okay, they must really be, they're going to give the two women, Rhea and Toni, a really good time, and it's going to be a really good match. And then, I forgot about this, because I think they did announce this earlier, so I forgot about this, and then there was even another match after this, and I wouldn't have had either of those two. But this to me was pointless. It's just to be oh yeah, hey, we're continuing on this Shotzi Blackheart and Candice LeRae feud, but we knew that. Just give me the promo, just Shotzi, blah, 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 this feud isn't over, I'm coming for her, blah, 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 and then done. We didn't need the match because it didn't mean anything. This match should have been that, Indy Hartwell looked legit. It should have been maybe Candice, poke Shotzi in the eyes, Indy rolls her up, then at least Indy gets the win and can maybe go after, I don't know, who's another baby face, Ember Moon or somebody.
Ember Moon. Ember Moon.
To be a number one contender or something.
Io, or even Io, just imagine, not for the title, but hey, challenge and see what happens,
exactly.
Hey, get around with the champion, that didn't happen, and she used the trophy, and then she gets disqualified. So does it help the heels? No. Does it help the baby face? Neither. So
it's pointless. Mm-hmm.
You know, no reason for this. Like I said, and Indy Hartwell is a good like lackey for this, but like I think they're still grooming her with Gargano, with Candice. That's at least the only thing that is savable from that.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's go to our boy that like Isaiah Swerve. He got a promo pretty quick. He's saying that last week he didn't shake Jake Atlas's hand because he's not ready for that, and he actually went with Mr. Regal, and Mr. Regal like they're gonna demand a rematch. So next week they're gonna have another match, and we'll see. I think that is the full heel is gonna happen. The heel turn is gonna take place. He's gonna go full flesh heel, and that's good because like we see they're wearing the suit. I always say if you wear the suit and you present yourself like legit, I believe in you. And I rather see Isaiah Swerve as a heel because I feel that like he's going to be able to talk more and say better things than as a babyface.
Oh yeah, I agree. And just his mannerisms and what he was saying tonight. He's like, I was beaten by somebody like Atlas, and he's like, oh no, let me be legit. And then as he starts talking to Ed, he's like, no, fuck that. He's a piece of shit. Next week I'm gonna prove I'm legit. So you see that, like you said, the heel turn. I agree with you. I think next week will be the full fledged heel turn. And this is a decent feud in the cruiserweight division. I just wish we would see our champion or one of the champions.
Yeah. Yes, like we saw like a little bit of the promo. It was more a promo from Progressive. It's not was really like a promo from the show. It was just more like they selling us insurances. I got State Farm, no thank you. Mm-hmm. So let's go with the guy that we've been mentioning. Where's he at? Did he eat a whole restaurant? No, he didn't. He was just eating in the back, and that's Bronson Reed. He's gonna be back, so it's like good because like the mid card needs him. Or even if it's going to go for like the main, championship, that's absolutely fine. It's fine, but like finally he's back. So that's good. We're going to see where he's going to end up. Maybe Karrion. Mm-hmm. I feel that Karrion maybe after what's going to happen in a little bit, what we're going to talk about. Well, we'll see what happens. But what do you think of this?
Yeah, I really don't know where they're going to put him just because, Karrion is really the only thing that makes sense because not saying you have to only book him against guys who are bigger, but if you book him against smaller guys, clearly he should be the one who wins. You're not going to book, Bronson Reed against a Johnny Gargano and have Gargano go over unless, he cheats because we saw him beat Austin Theory, I believe, twice in one night, when they did the Austin Theory losing streak thing. So, to me, Bronson Reed's legit. I don't know if it was travel issues, what it was, but it's good to have him back because he was one of the guys who was getting real hot. Go back to the Grizzled Young Veterans. He was getting the momentum, and then he was gone for a couple weeks. I don't know, travel, COVID, whatever it was, but he's back. So, it's legit.
Oh, yeah. And now, so let's go to the main thing. This guy's back in action. Music, the same entrance, Scarlett yelling, like, look, in the picture. It's, pretty cool stuff. Like, I like Karrion. There were promos throughout the night of his return. Like, it reminds me of, like, a good days of The Undertaker. It's a good stuff. Can he, like the match, like, Jean-Paul, you covered with Matt Riddle and MVP, he destroyed Desmond Troy. Mm-hmm. Unless, like, if you went to the bathroom, you missed the whole match. And, Karrion, it was just, like, see, the intensity, Saito suplex, straight jacket. Let's not go too far from the regular shtick that he had, and that's what it was.
And this was just like a showcase. Oh, look, he's back. He's dominant. He's powerful. But when this was over, now the show did run over about 5 minutes or so. But you're like, it's already 9:45. Like we don't even have the main event on yet. Like what the hell's going on? So this, to me, you could have easily done this next week. Or, or maybe not had the Shotzi match and then just had this game. I just wish the main event had a little more time and played out. But, yes. It would look good for Karrion Kross, but again, time management and stuff on NXT, they need to work on some stuff.
And of course, he called out Damian Priest. Mm-hmm. Like, are you ready for me? Like, I'm just like, here, let's do it. NXT, New Year's Evil, and tick-tock. Are you ready? Like, boom. And it's official, John Paul, with a magical rover right there. We have a match.
And I want to ask you, because I know you really love Damian Priest. I'm a big fan of him, and I know a lot of people in the wrestling world are a big fan of Damian Priest. But, he had this momentum, North American Championship feud. He wasn't really like the loser in it. He lost the title in a bullshit fashion to Gargano. He obviously didn't win it back in the triple threat. And now you're going to job him out to Priest? Karrion Kross. I think he'll still put on a decent showing. I think it'll be better than
to be a really close match.
I think it'll be better than the Ciampa match, but as in like more more competitive, but like he's gonna lose. That I would have maybe done somebody different here, but maybe him and Priest, it's a cool visual. They're both big guys, they're both, full grown men, as compared to some of the other members of the roster, covered in tattoos, have that
let's check again.
Gimmick. Right. So I think visually this match is going to be really good, but I just feel bad for Priest because it's like, okay, he loses to Kross, then what? what's he gonna do? Go back to the let me go back to the Leon Ruff bullshit.
Yeah, let
like,
me go back to Gargano.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be that. It might be the case. Like, I'm a big fan, like you said, and I hope, like, at least the match is really competitive. And maybe it just comes out to, like, one move or, like, one distraction from Scarlett. She could be the main factor right there. She could be the one that, like, maybe she starts, like, kind of flirting with Priest, and that way he gets distracted, and Karrion does the straight jacket, things
or
like that.
Maybe she'll do the fireball again, like Keith Lee, blow a fireball in his face.
Maybe that's what they do, but, like you said, it's like, I think maybe after that, then he can just go back either to, or this could signify from him also to become heel. And then maybe you can read things like that.
Or our worst fears imaginable.
Main roster.
Or he could be debuting in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, that could be that. And
there you go. You heard it first down rope break.
There you go. Like, and if it happens, you heard it on rope break. So remember that, family. Remember that. So, like, I think that it has that potential. For me, I'm telling you, he becomes heel. He turns heel, and now he goes against Bronson Reed. And then it could be like a feud from maybe either number one contender or, like, whoever wins go back, unfortunately, to Gargano. We'll see what they do, but, like, they need somebody believable with Karrion. And Priest is a good wrestler, so probably he can carry on, because they don't want him to get injured one more time. So finally, let's go, like you said, to the main event. Toni Storm going against Rhea Ripley. This match, like, I didn't have a lot of expectations because another thing, we've seen this so many times already, that do I want to see something different? Yeah. I don't know what they can do different from me. A new version of Toni Storm, new attitude, new girl. They said it's Toni's time. She had a good promo. She said, hey, like, the Toni that Rhea faced before at Worlds Collide is not the same Toni, so it's going to be a different result. And like you said, the only thing is, like, if you give us, like, 10 minutes for, like, a main event, can they really give us a good showing? I don't think so. So that's why I think the main reason that this match suffered from me is just because of lack of, like, time. And like you said, some things that could have been, saved to another show, and then they could have given more time to the main event. But, like, what they gave us, it was pretty decent, at least.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit better than I thought, at the start, just because of how much time was left in the match. And I thought it was going to be over quick, because right when it started, it was like, roll up attempt, and I was like, oh my God, are they actually going to have a, wrestling match? And then it was like, oh, let's just do the spot where you chop me, I chop you. And I'm like, okay, can we see something legit? And then it goes to commercial, not picture-in-picture, full-on commercial. And I'm like the disrespect to Hulk Hogan and Toni Storm here, like can we really, can we actually see him wrestle? But then we did, and then it, like I said, it had some run over, and it was starting to get good. But then you see right there, Raquel came out, and that to me, I was like, that's the feud, but why does everything need to end bullshit? Like, if you want to have Toni win, just have Toni win. Ray is not champ. Ray is not undefeated. There's no mystique to her. Even if she loses, she's still a badass. That's like if AJ Styles or like somebody like that gets pinned, you're not going to be like, oh, I hate them now. They're a loser. No, you still know they're legit. Everybody loses. No one's undefeated. I mean? Everybody loses. So why can't you just have Toni win legit? Then that would be a really big, reason for her to be like, EO, let's do this thing. Because they had the interaction last week.
Yeah. That would make Toni better, right? That would make Toni, like, give more momentum to her.
But instead, it was Raquel. She, like, threw Rhea into the ring post. Then Toni hits the Storm Zero. So obviously there's interference because the feud is Raquel and Rhea Ripley. That's the feud that they're going for. But it's like you could have, you could have just did that next week. We don't need to see, like I said, every match doesn't need to have interference or like a run in or something like that. It's just, you say you want to be better, you want to do, different shit, but then you just copy AEW. So it's just like, that's how they book every match and run it.
Yeah, and then I like where you're going with this, because it's just like if Toni beats her clean, that makes Toni so much better and so much believable as number one contender.
Yeah, because what if Toni?
Like, hey, I beat the woman that you used to fear, right? The woman that, like, oh, I beat your nightmare. Hell, I deserve a shot. Where is it? What
if Toni says that to, like, Regal, like, oh, give me a shot, and he's like, oh yeah, Raquel helped you, so no. It's like, oh, okay, like, what was the point?
Yeah, so, like, that's what we have, and there was a stare down between Raquel and Rhea, and like you said, this is going to be the main feud. They need to go one more time, and I think Balor said to Kyle O'Reilly, it's going to be the end, because we don't want to see this again, because if Rhea Ripley is the winner, this has to help out Raquel. Raquel needs to get over. At least for me. But that's what we have for the NXT. I think it was, like, again, pretty decent show. A little things that need to be tweaked. You know what? Like you said, a lot of people are saying already NXT, since they have their own writing team, the quality has really gone down, and it's showing because 673,000 people are the only ones seeing it. But thank you so very much, family. We really love you. We appreciate you. Tomorrow we have like double feature, like every single Thursday. We have AEW Dynamite and also like the best show in the WWE NXT UK. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and where else can they find the social media one?
Well, you can find us on Rope Break on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, and of course, right here, for the home of the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, the Original Rope Break on YouTube.
So family, meet us there. You know, we'll be waiting. Double feature tomorrow. Jean Paul, you and me have one more thing left to say, and that is...